It's like it's a 3-hour difference, and you know how that feels because you were just on the West Coast not too long ago.
Yeah, it's not so bad when you drive, like because it like gradually changes as you drive.
Right.
Where you fly and all
you're
of a
not
sudden
like
it's just 3
boom.
hours.
Yeah, I get that.
I think it's way worse coming this direction.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm a morning person, so I feel like it's not as bad, but at the same time, like here I am still like 4 days in, and I'm just like, it starts to get me after a couple days.
Yeah. It's I've been known to pull multiple all-nighters, so like
More power
those
to
long
ya.
days going west aren't as bad as
Yeah.
when you leave at 9 a.m. and you get home at noon and you're like, wait, my day is just starting. Yeah. Anyway. Welcome back to the Dirt Drive Podcast. Part 2.
Yeah, thank you.
I've taken plenty of abuse from the rest of the guys for losing the first episode we did at Overland Expo.
It's okay.
It worked out good.
Happen.
Yeah.
Maybe this one's going to be so much better that actually that's going to hurt Sean's feelings. So never mind. This one will probably be mediocre at best because Sean's not here.
Oh, it's all right. It'll give you some time to shine and share your inputs.
One of us is definitely an extrovert and the other is a little more of an introvert. I'll let you guys figure that out.
Yeah, it's I think Sean's done a podcast or two in his time, so.
Yeah, I've been a guest on a few, but Sean can talk just way more and probably more, I don't know, he just sounds so charismatic, I guess is the right word.
Yeah, I don't know how he does the solo podcast thing. That fascinates me. Like, talking to yourself just feels weird.
Absolutely. So. It's like a monologue, just a continuous monologue.
Yeah. It's literally what it is. It's got to be the writer in him being able to just like put thoughts out in words. So.
I can see where that would, I mean, I have the thoughts in my head, especially like on a good drive or whatever, but not in the way Sean does.
Yeah.
He's great at it.
Yeah. Well, you can reintroduce yourself.
Okay, yeah.
Since nobody else has met you yet.
I was going to say, hello, everyone. I am Laura Butcher. I am the Legislative Director for the Off-Road Business Association, which is a part of SEMA.
Okay. What...
You want background
I was going to say, it's going to be weird for me to ask all the
ORBA.
questions.
It's okay. You just tell me, like, which things you want to dive into.
I would say let's talk about your background.
Okay.
Like how you ended up
It's a weird
at
one.
ORBA. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the common theme in the off-road world, right? Like, it's a little bit of everything. There's really no one specialty.
I'm like that jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I mean, literally, people, I earned an interesting nickname from BLM people that I have worked with, and they all call me the Swiss Army knife of people because it's a weird background that I've got.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not bad. It's certainly, I feel like it comes in handy more often than not, especially in this job. But yeah, so I was born and raised in Northern California until I was about 12. So I think that kind of sets the stage for some of people get confused because a lot of times I say I'm just from Nevada.
Okay.
But truly I'm from both Nevada and California, but raised in really rural areas all the way around. Like I was a farm ranch kid always. So off-roading was literally a daily event. I mean, it was absolutely every day to go everywhere because I lived on dirt roads my whole life. So when I was 12, we moved to an even more rural area in northern Nevada. So not super far, but for the most part, I always just kind of reference that I'm from Nevada, but truly I've got a bigger background than even that. So I spent most of my adult career in fire and emergency management. I was a paramedic for a long time and lived a lot of different places, kind of bouncing around doing that stuff. Didn't really have any intention of doing any of the things that I'm now doing full time, but it was always a big passion for me. Off-road was a hobby that I grew up with. My dad was really into it, is still into it. We lost
it's
our
fine.
screen. That's okay. So my dad was super into it. He still is like an avid camper, off-roader. He has a Suzuki Samurai that's like all
Hell
fit.
yeah.
Actually, he has several because he keeps them for friends as well.
Okay.
He doesn't go by himself, so he has a Samurai that's all fixed up, and then he keeps others that are less fixed up but still capable for his friends.
I think that's they're kind of like dogs, right? Like you can't have one because one needs a friend.
Exactly.
And, two is not like you need the third.
Yes.
You gotta have spares for parts.
Exactly. I think he has at least 3 of them, probably more than that just for parts. But he loves to put his Samurai in the back of his toy hauler and go camp and off-road.
That's probably the best way to handle a Samurai. I never thought about like fitting it into a toy hauler.
It fits perfectly in the back of his toy hauler, and he will go off to Moab or different parts of Nevada, sometimes by himself, sometimes with his friends.
Yeah.
But so I grew up doing that kind of stuff. We camped and hiked and stuff a lot, as well as just, like I said, the day-to-day of living in really remote areas and growing up where BLM was like my backyard. I think most of the time, every piece of property we lived on, we'd have like 40 acres. Or right now, my parents are on 90 acres. But past that is just like BLM.
Yep.
So taking off on horseback or on a 3-wheeler, because I'm that old. Those were all like daily occurrences. And I would just kind of go. And then my older brother that I was really close to, he passed away in 2014, but he had a huge passion for off-road and racing, raced our local series that I ironically now own, VORA, which is Valley Off-Road Racing Association. But he also raced SCORE and did a lot of just ins and outs of working with BF Goodrich on a lot of their pro pit services back in the day and things like that. So he had a huge influence on me. And so eventually, after my brother passed away, I decided I didn't want to be a paramedic anymore and kind of retired from that. And then in the weirdest twist of fate ever, I had had a friend that was doing the Rebel Rally and needed a partner. Did that, came back from that, and happened to be at the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame gala that year where they were honoring the original VORA owner, and ran into Dave Cole, who I did not know at the time, but I'd had some drinks, as had my husband. And we were talking to Dave Cole, who also probably had some drinks.
Allegedly.
And I went from like asking, hey, can I use the logo, blah, blah, and ended up with a whole race series. So that marked like 2018, boom, now I'm in off-road full time. Yeah. And that's where the off-road career started.
All right. I mean,
I feel like that was a very interesting, like, little segue into.
Yeah, I don't think.
I took you on a journey for a minute.
I mean, that's the whole point, right? This is a podcast is for telling stories. Sometimes lies, sometimes good stories, sometimes bad stories. It doesn't really matter.
Well, I promise I won't give you any lies, because most of the time I feel like my background is weird enough that people, like, if they hear it all, they're going to be like, oh, she's a pathological liar. It's like, no, I'm just that flaky and weird.
Yeah. No, we've had some stories where it's like you can't make this up. Yeah. Like it definitely happened.
100%.
We've been accused of embellishing things, and it's like, no, it actually happened, and then the video surfaces, and you're like, see, I told you, that's exactly how it went down.
Right? It's probably good that for most of my childhood, cell phones weren't really like a readily available thing yet. So I definitely had my fair share of doing dumb stuff, but I think that makes us who we are, right?
Yeah.
So I got this race exactly. I got this race series in 2018, and it had pretty well died out. So kind of trying to get creative. We literally just got the name, no equipment, no nothing, and so we were very much figuring out how to start from scratch. And even though my husband and I had both been racers for a long time and volunteered a lot in a lot of different roles, and we kind of thought we knew what it took to like put on off-road races, we didn't. I don't think anybody really does until you're in that position.
What kind of racing is it?
So VORA's been around since 1975, and it's always done short course and desert racing.
Okay.
It's like a grassroots series that's been pretty much steady in the Northern California and Northern Nevada areas. So growing up both in Northern California and Northern Nevada, I grew up going to those races and hanging out with my brother and his friends, and occasionally getting to co-drive with my brother. Yeah. Not very often, but it did happen.
Didn't always let you in?
Yeah, no, he was mean when it came to that. I mean, he was my best friend, but he was totally mean when it came to that. So that took me to where I started to learn the process of how to get BLM permits for races, special recreation permits, SRPs. And I thought, wow, this is really not a great system. This is kind of messed up.
The government not being efficient, that's never happened.
I was like, this could be better. How can I help make this better? And I had been struggling a lot with a couple BLM permits specifically. Like I had 4 back-to-back races. Granted, they were stretched apart, so this was over the course of about a year, but it was just one thing after another, and I was getting really frustrated and ended up going to some politicians in our state and getting a decision overturned, and kind of, I would say that made some waves. Yeah. And it all worked out for the best. Like I have great relationships with a lot of those folks in BLM these days, but through that process, I learned about and got involved with Tread Lightly, which, if you don't already know, is a nationwide stewardship and education organization that started with the Forest Service back in, I think, 1985, if I remember right. So I found out, yeah, it was part of the Forest Service until 1990, and then they became a nonprofit so that they could help with like BLM and Forest Service and other agencies.
That's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one because it was like just, oh, I need a letter of support, blah blah blah. I'm trying to work with the BLM on this issue. And then they mentioned in the process of that, like, oh, we're going to hire a program manager for Nevada. And I thought, oh my God, that's going to be so great. I'm so glad you're hiring somebody just for this state because it's 87% BLM in Nevada. And and then it just wouldn't leave me alone. It just, the little thing in the back of my head just wouldn't leave me alone. So I ended up working for Tread Lightly full time for a few years, and being a program manager and learning even more about advocacy and off-road and the different disciplines beyond just my little world of desert racing and short course racing and kind of just the few states that I mainly operated in. And I ended up kind of evolving into helping other athletes and race series with their sponsorship and marketing decks. I have some wicked Canva skills.
I love Canva.
It's like
Tim does most of our Canva work, but it makes us look way better at it than you actually are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I have zero formal training in any of this, but I was able to work with some really great people like Sarah Price and Stone Cold Steve Austin was another one. I got to be on his TV show and whatnot. So throughout the course of working at Tread Lightly, I had been asked by ORBA about 3 years ago at the SEMA show to be on a Women in Off-Road live panel. One of the other people on that panel was Karen Bailey Chapman. So I met Karen and started to unlock a whole nother world of, access kind of advocacy work, and learned more about SEMA and just became quite interested in that increasingly so. And I've done the advocacy thing in the state of Nevada specifically through Nevada Off-Road Association. But I've always been really interested in national level work specifically. So as those opportunities have evolved, I also had the chance to work with Eric Snyder a few years ago. After being on that live panel with Karen the very next year, Eric asked if I would help out with some of the VIP tours that they do at the SEMA show for politicians and things like that as they come in. I helped out with that. Loved it.
That's cool.
And like I said, as these opportunities came up, I didn't ever really have any intentions to start with, but I just kept saying yes.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, boom, this week I'm at the White House. And it's like, how did I get here? So
SEMA's very good as an organization at facilitating that. Because we as a podcast are pretty much in the same boat where we just kind of, we're doing our thing and we decided, hey, we can't make it to the SEMA show this year. We're going to go to PRI instead.
Yeah.
And just on a whim, we asked like, hey, we're a podcast. Is there anywhere we can record? And the next thing we knew, we had media credentials. We were scheduling Mike Spagnola for an interview.
That's awesome.
It just escalated so quickly. And then the EV mandate rally, they were like, "Hey, you guys are local.
Yeah.
Can you come out and do this?" And we were like, us? Like, you want us? Like, have you listened to the podcast? You want to put us on Capitol Hill? And they're like, yeah, come on out. And we're like, all right. And
it's so cool.
It's been a snowball effect since. So, like, it's the whole crew has been fantastic. They're very good at, I think, unlocking that potential in people.
Absolutely.
Like, making you realize, like, hey, I enjoy this whether I'm working in it or not. So I might as well use that enthusiasm and my skill set to make it beneficial for everybody.
Right. I've learned more and more that the people that work within SEMA, they're just wonderful, like so fun to be around, for one. Like, I really enjoy being here in the office. Everybody's hilarious. But also just the mentorship has been really great. People don't make you feel weird or embarrassed when you don't know things and you have questions and you're kind of learning. And I mean, that's a great thing all in its own. So
they've got a great blend of the car guys and gals and then the DC people. Like, that's a really good team dynamic because I mean, I'm not speaking for you, but
no, please.
As a car person, like, sitting in conference rooms and wearing a suit and, like, those things are not normal day-to-day things for us.
100%. Yeah, it's been the funniest evolution because up to this point, like, I spent most of my life wearing uniforms for work. Yep. And then the last few years, it's been a lot of, I'm out in the trails. I'm wearing, like, the sunscreen shirts 90% of the time and just, like, work pants, whatever. And then, like, this week I've had a suit on every single day. It's been pretty crazy. I'm like, wow, look at me, I'm a real grown-up. Like, how did I get here?
I dropped my son off at daycare this morning and they were like, oh, you're dressed up today.
Exactly.
I,
I have a button-up shirt on.
Because normally it's like the stained t-shirt, shorts,
exactly,
a hat.
I almost always have a hat on. My hair is usually in a ponytail or a braid or whatever, because it's just a completely different ball game. And I had just gotten brought onto the team right before SEMA's DC rally in May this year, and I was so excited to come to DC. Most people get to do that 8th grade, I feel like, relatively in that ballpark, that 8th grade field trip. I didn't get to do any of that stuff, and it's always been like a place I wanted to see. I'm kind of a history nerd. Okay. So
there's a lot of it.
There was so much I was curious about and excited about. Granted, I still haven't made it to most of those. I mean, I've seen like some of the monuments and stuff, but not on the level I would like to. Yeah. I got to spend some time in some museums, but it was cool. It's
funny because I was the 8th grade field trip kid, right? See? Like we did a summer vacation here, did the White House tour, did all those tours.
That's awesome.
I remember 10% of it. My wife, who grew up 35 minutes from here, didn't do any of it.
Well, these guys have all been telling me all week, like, that a lot of these places they haven't been to, and I get that. Like, anywhere you usually live, you're not playing tourist, right? But I mean, I don't think I could help myself when I'm here. Like, I'm such a nerd for all of the historical stuff, and it's been really cool. And I thought it was hilarious because that was my first trip. That was my first like official SEMA gig. And I got here and they're like, okay, we're gonna give
you're busy.
We're gonna give the staff like a tour of everything ahead of time so that you can take groups around. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? I'm taking groups around? What do you mean? I've not done this before. I've not lobbied Capitol Hill or anywhere else before.
Have you had the pleasure of having to follow Matt around the Capitol yet?
Not specifically, but I sure have with Eric.
So, I don't know how Eric is. I have been accused of being a fast walker. Like, I grew up in New Jersey. New York City was like my nearest city, going to concerts and sporting events and things in New York City. Like, I get yelled at by my wife all the time for walking too fast. I could not keep up with him.
That's amazing. He must be really fast. I don't know. Now I'm like, I don't know if I can.
It's terrible. Apparently, it's a thing in the office. He's like, yeah, I get accused of this. I'm like,
really?
I consider myself a fast
walker. These
walker.
people walk. Yeah. Most of them walk like every day to and from work because it's that kind of a city.
Yeah. Every time I drive here, I'm like, I really should just like metro in.
Yeah,
like,
but right now it's so
here.
humid outside. It's hot, but it's the humidity that I'm struggling with. So I'm like, well, I could take a $30 Uber ride and not suffer the blisters that will occur.
Yeah, don't come back in like, if you come back in like a month, it'll be worse, if you can imagine that.
I was going to say, that's the fun part. I have no idea if or when the last time I was here, I didn't know when I'd be back, and I was on my way back, and they're like, you should probably plan on coming back sometime in the next couple weeks. So we'll see, because again, it's like, this may be my last time here. I don't know. Yeah. I doubt it though, because
I doubt it'll be your last time.
Karen says she's getting me a key to the office.
Oh, there you go.
So I feel like that's a good sign. I'm excited about it.
I want a key. I feel like I've been here enough to get a key.
You probably have been.
Every time we've done 2 of the DC rallies now, and every time we're here, we're like, it's our annual trip to DC, and this is the 3rd time in the last month and a half that I've now been in DC, and I'm like, I like the reasons of why.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just need to move the office like closer to where the shop is. It'd be way more convenient.
Yeah, I mean, but for the DC team, like having it be close to the Hill and the White House and stuff, like I get it. It's crazy though, because this is like a way fancier office than I could have ever.
You should have seen the old
imagined. I've heard the tales.
The first thing we did with them, they were still in the old office. They were actually getting ready to move out of it, and it was like, it basically looked like somebody's apartment from 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Like, it was like a 3-bedroom apartment with a bunch of desks.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show how hard they've worked and how far they've come, because this is really cool. I mean, so this trip, my 9-year-old daughter just got done with the school year, and I asked Karen, I'm like, hey, I was supposed to be here for 1 day, mind you. I was just supposed to be here for 1 day. So I'm like, would it be okay if I bring my daughter and like kind of roll this into sort of a trip so she can see some of the stuff that I always wanted to see when I was a kid? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, I swear, as long as I'm not charging the office, they don't care. Yep. So I booked it, and luckily my mom was able to come along as well. And awesome. I brought Grace to the office yesterday, and she was just like, so like, what is this? Because normally I'm working in one of the spare bedrooms in our house. Like,
or you're out in the middle of the desert.
Exactly.
Like in a tent.
This is not, it's like, oh my gosh, look at all these offices and the desks, and oh my gosh.
Fancy.
Exactly. Everything seemed like so fancy. I'm like, yep, me too, Grace, me too.
I know that goes. You guys, if you haven't already, you should do the International Spy Museum.
Oh yeah, I hear that's a good one.
It is. It's not one of the like free Smithsonian museums, so there's I don't know what the entrance fee is these days, but it's very interactive. It's a lot of fun. You can like be a spy for a day, like go on a mission.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's still a thing.
I will say we've been really lucky. The first time I was here, which was my last trip, to be clear, one of the congressmen that I know really well from Nevada was able to arrange like a private tour of the Capitol for me.
Oh, cool.
So I stayed 1 extra day for that. And then yesterday I took my mom and my daughter to do the same thing. And like I just dropped them off at his office, said goodbye, and continued on to the other meetings that I had on the Hill. But they've at least, and I'm sure she's about to be 10, but I doubt she'll remember most of this, but gosh, it's so cool.
Yeah. It'll come down to how much of an impression it leaves.
Yeah, well, hopefully enough, because I would have eaten it up. But I was a nerdy kid even at that. I mean, all things relative. I was a junior park ranger when I was a kid, because we did, like I said, we did all the camping trips and stuff. And I took it so seriously. I took it so way more seriously than that was.
There's nothing wrong with that though. Like there's a reason we're the Dirt Nerds.
I was gonna say
we understand.
I've been picking up trash in places like that since I was like 6 years old, and I'm still doing it. Yeah. I was literally just at a BLM cleanup the weekend before I came to this.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right?
Exactly. That's what we're here for. I'm always willing to put my money where my mouth is and actually do the work. That's all that really matters.
Yeah. I would definitely say it's a big thing that I feel like is missing in some areas of our sport is just
stewardship.
The stewardship, the accountability of it. Like, we all have fun going out and racing and whatnot, but there's still a level of respect and conservation involved in that.
Right.
That I think
it's so important.
isn't missing, but like I think it's missing from the outside perspective, right? Like they see the 30-second reel on Instagram or something like that, and it's almost missing the point of what we're doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a huge component to it with, I think, stewardship and education to me like go hand in hand. So I've actually had kind of this idea, and I have talked to BLM about it before, and I guess at some point in history, there used to be ways that they could kind of incentivize that stuff with like races and stuff, where if people were willing to come help out, it could potentially have lowered the cost and kind of eased some of the burden. That's definitely a conversation I would like to have with them again. Yeah. Because how cool would that be if as a community we can like offset some of our own costs, especially for larger events like King of the Hammers or something, if there's a way to kind of...
Well, I feel like at King of the Hammers there is a good chunk of that already happening. So
absolutely.
Like why not take advantage of the fact that Sons of Smoking the Gambler and those guys are doing those trail cleanups.
Absolutely.
And whatnot.
So ironically, this last year at King of the Hammers, Hammer King had hired me to do all of their BLM and DOI permits. So I was the one doing all of the contract permits for, which I guess is kind of a whole other side story. See, I forget these these side shoot portions of things. But so they hired me and I did all of their military and BLM permits. And so that was kind of a cool full circle thing, considering it was Dave that gave me that original, like, coming all the way back around. And then it's like all the way back around.
It's that long-term investment.
And I felt like that was such a huge accomplishment to write. I mean, that was a big anniversary year for them. It was a very large event, the biggest they've ever had. Like, the operating plan that I wrote for that was like 42 pages long. And when BLM accepted it, like right out of the gate, I was like, yes, this is it. Like, awesome. If I can write this operating plan, like, we're unstoppable.
I mean, it
took a long time to get to that point.
When like we did our first trip to Hammers was this year, and explaining it to like friends and family that aren't in off-road, they're like,
hey, what?
Like, is it like what kind? Like, it's like you're going all the way to California for it, and I'm like, the closest thing I can think of is it's like the Super Bowl or like the Daytona 500 of off-road racing. Like, it is as big as it gets. If you can do it for Hammers, you could pretty much do it for anything.
And it went, I mean, that is exactly the train of thought that I would use to describe it as well. And that's how I looked at it for the permitting. I was like, well, I've made it through the biggest, hardest one there is. Like, cool, I've climbed that mountain. But now on the flip side, you know, I'm trying to help from other angles. And it's the first few years I was at Hammers, was to do the cleanup work and stuff through Tread Lightly with Sons of Smoky and all of that. So it's taken some interesting turns, like to have gone from being there as just a fan to being there as a Tread Lightly employee, helping with the stewardship and education stuff. My best friend, Erica Sachs, also is like one of the professional navigators and did the GPS file for Hammers a few years ago. Okay. So I helped her with that and selling notes. And it's been such a weird evolution of all the angles of stuff. But then this last year doing their permits, and then now like advocating for them at the White House and on Capitol Hill. I mean, that's pretty wild.
That's a quick climb, I guess is the right word.
Like I said, sometimes it feels really surreal, but I think I'm just that passionate about it that's
good.
I've done the things, so being able to retell the stories in those spaces is I guess they don't probably see people every day that are like actually out there.
I think that's what I've learned from doing these rallies is like the representatives and the teams that work for them are surprised to hear that like we are there and we're in the industry. You know, they're so used to seeing a lobbyist or a lawyer or just whoever they're representing an organization versus where we're the enthusiasts and we're representing the organizations.
100%. It's been fun to see the surprise on people's face, like the last couple of days when I've gone with one of our lobbyists for SEMA and I'm with Eric and they're kind of, you know, teeing things up and introducing me to people. They're like so surprised and confused all at the same time. But it paints a really great picture, and I think I'm kind of able to reframe their thinking on a few things. And I really hate when I feel like off-road and like we're just always kind of getting a bad rap. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's funny. One of our local Virginia representatives has, well, I learned it in the meeting, but he's hiked the entirety of the AT, the Appalachian Trail.
Oh my gosh, that's on my bucket list.
Right. So it's like, this is somebody who loves the outdoors. I'm like,
right.
We
Absolutely.
can connect. And we started talking about it, and his team member was just kind of like, yeah, I think he prefers to like slow down in the outdoors and do things slow.
It's okay.
And I was like, yeah, we're not all racing.
No,
She's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, Virginia has 2,600 miles of Forest Service public roads.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. And I have a buddy who has mapped from the northern tip to the southern tip, and it takes 5 days driving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, like it's usually like a 5 mile an hour, like we're just idling through the woods. We're not like doing 100 miles an hour all the time.
I think the perception is just like really far off in some cases, or they have us like so stereotyped.
Yep.
Which I think that's probably one of my favorite things, is to kind of break that down and give them some of the portions of the off-road community they probably haven't considered before. Mm-hmm. So we're not all the same. We're just like any other group. And my dad is not out there in his Suzuki Samurai, tearing it up.
They couldn't do 40 miles an hour if it wanted
exactly.
to. Let alone on the rocks.
Like, come on. This is, this looks like a lot of different things. And I'm always a big fan of reminding people that usually even the other people who don't consider themselves to be off-roaders are in fact off-roaders. They usually got to that trailhead or, whatever, whether it's hiking or biking, usually they got there somehow. Usually that didn't include a paved road all the way through.
Yeah.
And especially hunters and anglers, like how many people are not packing their stuff out? They're using UTVs and stuff these days, a lot more.
Yep. We actually just recorded with Blue Ribbon Coalition a few weeks ago, and one of our reels from that episode for like 3 or 4 days just had comments, and it's funny because people have asked us since doing that episode, like how do you feel about their representation online? And I'm like, I don't know,
as far as Blue Ribbons represent? Oh, interesting.
And I was just like, I feel like it's fairly positive, but I also tend to look at things as an off-roader.
You're looking at them through a certain lens, right?
So,
we all are.
Since we collaborated on the reel with them, we get all of the comment notifications.
Mm-hmm. You're like,
and
whoa.
the amount of outside the off-road like community hate that they get because they are perceived as the group that is trying to basically build highways through wilderness areas. And it's like,
yeah, it's unfortunate that's the perception that people have. It's really unfortunate.
There was somebody who made a comment, and it's been fun for us because like we have a small enough following where we still have the time to respond to things, and we're independent. We don't have a boss. We don't have sponsors that we have to answer to, so we can say whatever we really want to say.
And that is so nice sometimes.
Oh, it's the best. And like, we're smart enough to not shoot ourselves in the foot.
Right.
But there was a comment on there where it was like, oh, the last thing I want to do is hear a dirt bike when I'm in the woods. And I'm like, why do you think we go to the woods?
Yeah.
We drive out and park and we sit in silence. I park, I set up a campsite and I go hiking.
Yeah.
Right? My response to him was like, unless you're one of the really fortunate people in this world, I highly doubt you're walking out of your house and getting straight on a trail.
Exactly.
So, hate to bring it to you, buddy. You're also off-roading if you drive yourself
Yeah.
Crickets.
It's one of my favorite things. I've frequently worked with other groups that we probably wouldn't have always aligned with, like watershed groups and, different things like that. And you're never going to convince people. You'd never win by arguing. That's generally, you're not, you can make your point all day long, but are you really going to convince somebody to where they're actually going to, okay, I get it.
Yeah, if anything, you're going to divide yourselves further.
Yeah. So my favorite thing is like going out on projects with people like that a lot of times and sort of like slow walking them into it, and then at the end of the day just kind of being like, congratulations, you're an off-roader. Like, how was it? How was your first trip? That's amazing. And they just kind of like are so taken aback for a second, like, uh-oh, what did I just do? You know, but it's like, this looks like so many different things. And I get on my little soapbox all the time about how elitist it is to think that like everybody can hike or bike. There are tons of people. I'm always mentioning to like lawmakers, they need to be thinking about our veteran community. We've got, you know, everybody from children with disabilities to veterans who have sacrificed so much for our country and our ability to have these public lands and cannot necessarily hike and bike the way that others are envisioning, and they deserve that access too. They deserve it probably more than the rest of us.
And I think there is the easiest access to it is to do some sort of off-roading or overlanding, right? Like everybody has a car. Most of these roads, these cars are capable of driving. So
Absolutely. You don't need the big lifted truck.
Right.
Is it cool at times? Sure. And it sort of depends on what you're trying to do. But you can do an awful lot in just about any vehicle.
My daily driver is a 2013 Grand Cherokee.
Right.
I've taken crap from friends and customers for not having a real Jeep. And I'm like, listen, I have 3 others that are real Jeeps. Like this, I have to get to work every day. I need something I can drive.
A daily driver that's not, he's probably going to kill me for saying this, but like my husband's daily driver is a Subaru.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got like the Toyota Tacoma Pre-Runner. I drive, my daily driver is a Ford Bronco Raptor. Like we've got all the cool stuff, but on a day-to-day like commuting car, he drives a Subaru. That's no big deal. It's still a capable vehicle too.
We still have, my wife loves to remind me that she's had 3 cars her whole life, and 2 of them have been Honda Civics, and we still have one of them.
I was gonna say, those are some die-hard vehicles, man.
I joke it's the second most reliable thing I own.
What's the first? I'm dying to know.
My Duramax.
Okay, that's fair.
Because it sits for 3 months at a time, and the battery doesn't die. I can start it up. It runs. It idles. It needs a ton of work, and it's got 330,000 miles on it. But it's had a leaky water pump for 2 years now, and it's towed my Jeep to Kentucky and back more than once.
There you go.
Like it still
hasn't let you down.
Yeah, it's had tons of issues, but it's just runs through all of it with no complaints. The Honda's the same way. It just sits in the driveway.
The Honda is awesome.
It's our airport car. If we have to like lease something at an airport, it just sits at the airport. So now that my son's
always going to start.
Yep. My son's 3, so getting him in the car seat in the Civic's a little bit harder. So I haven't driven it as much as I used to. You get to
play the game of trying to, unless it's you're trying to push the seat forward and everything else.
I'm getting ready. I might go back to driving it because it still gets 35 miles to the gallon, and now he's old enough where he's putting himself in the car seat.
That's what I was going to say. Unless it's where he can put himself in there.
He can't climb in the Grand Cherokee because that's lifted. He can climb in my wife's Kia, but he can't like you can get in the Honda.
So he's mostly there, but those cars are a little challenging for really small kids, but
he gets mad at me when we don't drive one of the Jeeps. He's finally stopped asking me to take I have a JK on 37s. It's my trail rig.
Yeah, absolutely.
But every morning he's like, "That is Jeep," and I'm like, "No, buddy. Like, that's got death wobble. I can't take you to daycare in that."
It's not gonna feel so good on the road. Not for a long distance.
Yeah, like we'll drive it. I've put him on my lap and like driven it around the yard.
Yeah, absolutely. What kid hasn't?
I can't mow the lawn without him like wanting tractor rides.
I remember wanting those same things.
His whole life's downhill at this point. So.
It's already mapped out. I remember my dad used to let me take his old Mazda GLC that was a stick shift. That's what I drove back and forth to the bus stop all the time, and I thought I was the coolest.
Anything with a manual was cool.
I was. That's what days. I had to learn how to drive that. I've had lots of manuals.
My first car that I drove when I had a license was a 5-speed XJ.
Nice.
That I lifted in VOTEC class, like working nights at the gas station, like one corner at a time, saving up to buy used KO2s.
Right.
KO1s, running KO1s back then. But
the KO1s back in the day. I'm still running KO2s. I haven't upgraded to the KO3s yet.
Yeah. See, we have this thing called rain on the East Coast, and the KO2 just doesn't
do it.
Doesn't do the 3 is much better. But the
I hear the 3s are amazing. I just haven't had a chance to experience them yet.
They should be.
I mean, they're out, but
doesn't the Bronco Raptor have?
Mine came with KO2s, and when I replaced,
aren't they? They're like that in between though, where they're technically KO3 3s, but they're still KO2s.
I think that
like
very well could be.
I know there was like a crossover.
Like they're
on some of the factory
37s,
tires.
and all I can say is that I got my Bronco Raptor with the BFGs, and this is in no way a plug to BFG because I'm not being sponsored or anything. But after having my Bronco for 3 months, I did the Rubicon like an idiot. My husband was so mad at me, but I did it, and I did it proficiently.
That's what they're for.
But like, man, those tires took a beating on the Rubicon. Sure. Like I had a pretty good slice on a sidewall, but they kept going. I kept them for like another 60,000 miles before I replaced them. But I've had great luck with KO2s over the years on several Tacomas that I've had, and just beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I cuss on here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. You're fine. You're fine. It's, I mean, they were the gold standard forever.
They were. And, I mean, you can find good... Maxxis makes a really good tire as well. There's lots of them.
Yep.
My husband has Yokos on his Class 9 car. I mean, we've got a variety of things.
We find the Falcon Wild Peak line does pretty well locally for us.
Yeah, I've heard good things about those as well.
I've got the RTs in 37 on the JK, and they shed mud and they do well on the rocks. I haven't.
It's like your terrain here is so different. I wouldn't probably know what to think.
I've had that conversation with so many people. Like when we were at Hammers, there were people we were meeting. They're like, "Oh, you own a shop? Like, I need tires. Like, what should I buy?" I'm like, "Do you live here?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I don't have a clue," because that guy doesn't have any tread on his buggy tires, and that blows my mind.
Right.
Like, what happens if you go through a wet rock? Like, you can't have bald tires.
You're trying to heat your tires up as much as you can.
It's such a wild thing. But I was like, yeah, these work really well on the East Coast. I would imagine they would work in the desert, principally speaking, but I don't know, find somebody that lives locally and ask them for a tire recommendation.
Well, people probably just trust your judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, they want your recommendation. I get that.
We get that at the shop. You know, it's people like, I want this tire. I'm like, are you sure? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, that's what everybody has. I'm like, well, what are you doing with it? Oh, it's just my commuter. Like, all right, you don't want trail grapplers.
Like,
trust me,
you don't want to listen to that.
Yeah, it's like if you want it for the look, that's fine. But you're spending $700 a tire to not be able to hear anything.
Right.
We have a customer with a Gladiator on 40s, and he drove it. He took it to Moab for Easter Jeep Safari and came back.
What do you think?
And he's like, there's something wrong with my Jeep.
You're like, probably not.
We didn't build it. We built his first Gladiator, and then he sold that because he was retiring. He's like, I'm not gonna have space. I'm moving to an apartment. All this. Then he ended up back in a house, bought another Gladiator, was built, and then we've been fixing a bunch of stuff on it. And we're like, okay, like drop it off. We'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
Driving, we're like, it's definitely a tire noise. And he's like, no, it wasn't making that noise when I bought it. And we're like, well, you just put 5,000 miles on it, like they're gonna wear. And he had the Cooper STTs, so like big, chunky off-road tire, great tire. Yep. But it's heavy, it's chunky, and he's just like,
they make a lot of noise.
He's like, I have to take work calls. I can't take work calls on the highway. And we're like, yeah, he's like, I need a quieter tire. We're like, yeah. We literally just put
you probably should.
But he's like, it has to look, because it's a giant Gladiator and it's on 40, so he's like, I don't want to do another.
He wants the aggressive look, but not the noise that comes with it.
We put.
I feel like that's probably something that they're. I have seen where tire companies are working on that, where it looks aggressive, but it's not.
Yep. And that's like the shop's 40 minutes from here, so a lot of our customer base has to fit in parking garages and drives into DC every day, and I'm like, just buy another car.
I was gonna say a commuter car. Man, if I had to drive in this every day, I've had several commuter cars. I would absolutely, if I had to drive in, I don't even know if I would be trying to drive a whole lot. I'd probably be, I don't know, moped. That's probably what I would do. A moped.
Yeah, I'd just be afraid of being like taken
annihilated. No, that seems like a valid concern as well.
I'm from New Jersey and New York. Like I understand aggressive driving, and DC is a different type of aggressive because it's aggressive blended with stupidity. And it gets real dangerous.
I lived in Las Vegas. I get it.
Yeah. I guess Vegas isn't really any better.
No, it's tourists a lot of the time and people that move from LA, so they're terrible. Yeah. But
it's
I'm sorry to anybody from LA that's listening.
Oh no. We flew into LA for Hammers, and we basically were in LA for 8 hours. Mm-hmm. And we got our rental car, got to our hotel, fell asleep, woke up, and within 15 minutes of like eating breakfast at the Holiday Inn, we were like, all right, we got to get the hell out of LA.
Right.
We could not get in the car and get to
Get out.
El Monte RV any faster. And then driving the RV, like where do we pick the RV up? I forget like what part of it was like right between LA and like Riverside.
Okay.
Is where we got the RV, and then we drove out to
I know
Johnson
that
Valley.
area, yeah.
And it's funny because I met a bunch of people at Overland Expo who are from Riverside.
I was going to say my best friend lives in that area too.
And
wild.
the one he was talking about how he has tuned his shocks on his Sequoia specifically for Highway 91.
Wow, that's pretty cool
right,
in its own way. I'm like, good for you.
And he's telling me the story, and I'm like, wait, is that the highway? Because that's how we went to Johnson Valley, and I remember driving the rental RV down 91, and I thought a duel was coming off of the RV because the road was so bad,
pretty bumpy, right?
And I was just like,
and then the road to Johnson Valley is wild. It's like
I expect that, like when you're out,
I know. It's fun though.
It's
like twisty, turny hills.
Not fun in an RV, but definitely a pretty drive.
Once upon a time, I did. Sarah Price had like a little BMW sports car that she needed taken from point A to point B, and I got to drive it there, and that was probably the most fun driving through that Johnson Valley area.
Yeah.
Whew.
I'm a BMW guy. I've had a bunch of BMWs in my car phase. I went from off-roading to cars and back to off-roading because track days got really expensive.
Track days do get expensive.
I mean, not that trail days are any less expensive. They're just deferred
different
cost.
Deferred, exactly. Deferred cost is exactly
I fixed it 6 months after I broke it.
Yeah, exactly. You can park it and forget about it for a while.
Yeah, I'm prepping my Jeep. We have an event at the end of June that we're doing, and I'm like trying to remember all the things I have to fix. I'm like,
make yourself a list.
I need to get a radiator. I need to put a water pump in it. I need ball joint.
The usual.
Because I just parked it in October. It's like, I'll deal with that later, and now it's June.
Honestly, and this will probably get me all kinds of hate, but I had a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon back in 2006-ish. But I felt like it was very needy. So I ended up trading it in for a Tacoma.
That's fair.
And that was kind of the end of that.
We joke, we call ourselves the anti-Jeep Club.
There you go.
Because we all have Jeeps.
Yep.
We all hate Jeeps. But they're just really good at what we use them for.
They're so good at that purpose. Yeah. Absolutely. No doubt about it.
The only reason I own a Grand Cherokee is I needed something like a 4Runner to haul the kid and the family around. And I had bought this Grand Cherokee in 2016, sold it to my sister-in-law, and then bought it back from them. So I knew it. I can rebuild a 3.6 in my sleep. So it's like, I don't care if it's a high mileage 3.6. It's easy.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't make it the best full-size SUV for off-roading.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I was in my very early 20s and probably not making great choices. Took it snow wheeling a lot. You know, I remember taking the air pressure down pretty far, then blowing a bead and having to,
So was it TJ or JK?
It was the first Rubicon edition. Okay. Yeah.
So
and I thought it was so cool. It was 2005 when I bought it, and it was a 2006. So it was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever.
Then you learned about the auto industry and how model years work.
And I was like, why is the light on? Oh, because the gas cap's not on just right. Oh God, okay.
The early 2000s Chrysler product, as good as the 4-liter is, and as good as the TJ and LJ platform is, they're not known for their reliability. I mean, the JKs aren't that much better.
It was a fun car to have.
Yeah.
But I ended up then getting a Toyota Tacoma and had that one forever. Yeah. Beat the crap out of it.
They all have their pros and cons. And
they absolutely do.
I would make the argument out in Nevada and California in the desert life, the Toyotas, even the Bronco Raptor is probably the best thing.
I was gonna say that
for wheeling where you guys are.
That
it's
suits
great.
Me probably better than any other product I could conjure up. People ask me all the time, "How do you like your Bronco?" It's like, if somebody asked me today, I've had it for 3 years. If somebody was like, "What's your dream car? If you could have anything, what would you want?" I would still pick the Bronco Raptor.
I believe that.
It suits my needs for the sheer amount of off-roading I do, which is pretty extensive by comparison to a lot of people. It does so well. It is so capable.
We tend to gravitate a lot into the rock crawling side of things. So
I realized long ago that I just like to go fast.
Yeah. And I get it's funny. I like to go fast, but I'm realizing that my fast is not as fast as other people's.
Everybody's got their own fast, right? There's
that's
comfortable fast, and then there's like,
I'm a competitive person. Like I grew up playing sports, so I've always had the desire to get into racing. And the closer we get to being able to race,
I was gonna say,
the more I'm like,
have you been able to race yet? Have you raced anything yet?
No, not
Okay,
like formally.
so what's the goal?
We've always wanted to do like we have Tim has an XJ and do a 4600 XJ for Ultra 4.
Nice.
We've had Eric Miller on the podcast. His advice was, you guys are already rock crawlers, you'll be fine. You can learn to go fast. Rock crawling's the one that's the harder learning curve. We're like, all right, that makes sense. But then when you're actually out there and like the rock crawling, it's the jump from I'm a good driver, I can get through a trail cleanly, efficiently, like all those things. We've started doing some rallies that like they're more endurance rallies here in West Virginia.
There's some cool events that happen in your area.
So like Terra Trophy is happening this weekend.
Yeah.
The Backroads of Appalachia 24 hours event.
Love
is
those
one
guys.
At the end of June. Yeah.
Jed's
a really good buddy of ours.
Yes, Jed and Eric are some fun ones.
Yeah, we did the first 24 hours they ever did before they like really figured out how they were doing. So I count it as a finish. It took us 36 hours. We were like one of the last people to ever finish.
Good for you, though.
We kind of misunderstood what it was because it was kind of billed as, hey, we're trying to support all these mountain Appalachia towns.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
See the area, whatever. So like we stopped for lunch.
Yeah,
like we're just like bouncing through the woods and people are passing us, and Tim and I are just like, hey man, like. Tortoise in the hair, like we'll see you at the finish line. I'm gonna stop and grab a burrito, and 2 hours later we're like, where is everybody
here?
And then we ended up catching a group, and they're like, didn't you guys start like an hour ahead of us? We're like, yeah, we stopped for lunch. They're like, you stopped for lunch? Were you crazy? So then overnight, like I started driving. Loved him. He's not the race car driver.
Right.
He admits it. So then I started driving, and like we picked up our pace and ended up being one of, I think, like 50 people that actually finished.
That's
But
awesome.
now that they have put the time limits and the speed limits in, it's a little bit more competitive. Everyone we've entered, we've finished.
Good for you. That's actually a pretty big feat.
Yeah. I have yet to finish unbroken, but we have finished.
Hey, honestly, if you're finishing unbroken, I feel like maybe you're not understanding the concept of racing. But on the same hand, the fact that you have finished everything is huge.
Yeah.
I know people that have been racing for a while and never finish anything.
Yeah.
It takes years for them to actually finish them.
Yeah. I got sick of rebuilding. I rebuilt the rear axle in my Jeep 3 times in a year.
Fun.
One was not differential related, but it broke the differential, and then the next 2 were both 24-hour
So
breakages.
you're just like, I'm over this.
So yeah, I'm like, I'm taking a year off. Like I help with recovery and some of the support side of it now.
And that's all really good experience to put towards being a racer, because I think it's really important to kind of cross train and know what
100%
what all those roles look like.
But yeah, like hanging out with Eric Miller and watching him drive his JK through the same trails in like 10 hours less than I'm doing it. I'm like, yeah, I know that's a way higher like skill level.
Yeah.
But it's also
like
there's a lot of work to get there.
That's a lot of seat time.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that you guys will get there. I mean, and I think it was Rod Hall that always used to say, like, to finish first, you must first finish, right? Yeah. So there's something to be said for that slow is smooth and smooth is fast kind of mentality. Maybe not stopping for burritos.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, it's the ones we've done since then. Like that's always been my mentality. I also have a fire rescue background. So like the whole slow, smooth as fast
we
is
speak the same
drilled
language.
into me. Yeah. And it's the mechanic in me is also like, knows how far I can push something, but I also know where the weak points are.
Yeah.
Like I had a.
That's always going to hold me back. Like I don't want to work on stuff, so I'm going to be conservative once I get to the point. I'm
learning very quickly how 90% of surviving it is really in the prep.
100%. Everything is prep.
We prepped the Jeep last March and walked around it, and the one axle seal was like starting to seep. And I was like, oh, no problem. Like, yank the shaft. We'll replace it. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Walk over to the parts shelf, and I don't have a seal in stock.
Oh, so
I'm like,
shit.
Oh, whatever. It's not leaking. Like, I'll change it when we get home, kind of thing. 20 miles from the finish line. What's that squeak? We look. The seal had gone bad. Oil had leaked out. Got low. Toasted the bearing. And the whole axle shaft was starting to like walk out of the... Because it's still the 44. So I ended up riding the brakes for 20 miles on trail, like left footing the brake just to keep the axle from like trying to work its way out and breaking a caliper or something. It was
creating
rough.
more work for you at that point.
I still have those calipers are still functioning. There's a nice groove cut in from where the rotor was going around. But we would just stop like every 5 miles and put more fluid in the diff, like just keep oil in it.
Keeping it going. Let's have the battle.
But yeah, that put so much metal through everything. That ended up being a full rebuild.
Oof.
And then took it rock crawling and broke both axle shafts like 3 months later.
Quite the luck.
Oh yeah, the Jeep literally like it was. I took it out in October for 24 hours. I ran rescue and support, and I ripped a brake line out at like 4 a.m. Coming back from a recovery, and it was just like it's going on the trailer and it's staying there.
I'm gonna put you in timeout for a little while, and I'll be back.
I think
I'm not so mad about it.
I washed it and put that brake line in like February, like this past February, and then it's been in my driveway since. I actually just renewed the registration yesterday because I was like, "Hey, this has been expired for 3 months."
Well, I mean, at least now you're good to go moving forward.
Assuming I don't break it.
Sort of, kind of. I mean,
it's all part of the fun.
Yeah. Hey, you power washed it right away? I feel like that.
Oh no, I power washed it like 5 months later. That was October to February.
Nonetheless, I would have probably put that off. I say that like I don't get my own car gets washed constantly because everything's dirty all the time.
See, I live on a dirt road, so it's just like not worth
That's
it.
it. I mean, this is actually I lived on a dirt road for like most of my life, and then getting to the point where it's like, oh, I don't live on a dirt road anymore. This is weird.
It's like I can actually keep my car clean.
Kind of, sort of, until like every weekend when I've got some event or race or something going on.
So we can kind of 180 here, but
absolutely.
What's going on with ORBA? Like, so I know. Let me ask the question more specifically.
Sure.
What differentiates ORBA from, say, Blue Ribbon Coalition or Tread Lightly?
I knew that one was coming. Okay, so they're all a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
I would say that, and I used to say this all the time when I worked for Tread Lightly. I like to put it in the frame for people that, like any good military attack, you're going to come at it from multiple sides, right?
Yep.
You need stuff on the front end as well as the back end, right? And you're probably flanking the enemy, whatever. Now it sounds like I'm saying enemy, whatever. But whatever the issue is, it behooves us as a community to be super proactive about things. But also there is always going to need to have like that reactionary portion of it, right? We can't like get walked all over all the time.
Yep.
And I think that ORBA's strength is really that we're here to kind of oversee like the regulatory stuff and the legislation. Like that's my lane specifically. But at the same time, really working on building coalitions with other groups to try and keep everybody as aligned as possible. Because unfortunately, in our little world, we kind of tend to eat our own. I mean, that's the really unfortunate part is sometimes we don't even need other, more eco groups to come in and attack us because they just have to sit back and wait for us to do it to ourselves. And that's the really unfortunate part. So I think right now ORBA's focus is just kind of trying to get alignment going with as many other groups as possible and being that kind of even keel, steady look at. I try so hard to focus on making sure that everything gets looked at objectively, factually, and people are getting the information without there being like any sort of a personal or like any sort of a spin to it, right? And that way, when something is really urgent, we can say, "Hey, pay attention. I need you now."
Yeah.
And it's not like this constant barrage of like, "Oh my gosh, the sky is falling, everything's bad." No, I will tell you when something really needs your attention right now. But I want people to also understand that we're monitoring constantly. We have a whole team of people, which is the great part about being under SEMA, is it comes with all of their team as well.
Yep.
So it's me and Sean and Karen, but it's not at the same time. having Eric and everybody else to really help keep the guardrails on and mentor us and help just the constant tracking of everything. I mean, I'm checking the Federal Register every day, looking at Congress.gov every day, looking for things, meetings that may be popping up. And that is so time intensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could spend all day, every day just doing that and nothing else and never get anything else done.
Yeah.
But making sure that things are getting monitored and we're catching things as quickly as possible, and then kind of putting it to the public in the most balanced, like responsible way I think we can, and acting accordingly. I mean, that's really where we're trying to focus.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely something we've missed as a community, is like that organization aspect. Mm-hmm. You know, it's for years my Instagram was full of Corva and Cal Four Wheel.
Yeah, and we work really closely with those groups.
Right. Well, right, yeah. But it's, you know, before I really got involved in it with SEMA, it's not that I didn't care. There was so much going on.
There's
right?
so much all the time. It's like a dumpster fire, right? You're like, where does my attention even need to be?
Yep. And it's easy as an East Coaster to be like, oh, well, we don't have any public lands for them to take away anyway.
Screw those guys, right?
But the deeper you get into it, the more you realize, one, it's setting the precedent, and everything. Two, we have a ton of public land on the East Coast.
You do. People just don't realize it.
Right. I've every time we go west, that's our goal is to be like, stop disrespecting the East Coast.
I like that.
Like
I'm looking forward to at some point visiting some of the public lands. I've obviously done a lot on the West Coast, but BLM specifically has talked to us about like, hey, we've got some areas. They mentioned West Virginia, like specifically. We've got some like pockets of BLM land. They're like decommissioned mines. Mm-hmm. We would like to take a look at how we can provide OHV access in those areas. Would you be willing to help us? Like, absolutely, yes. Yes, I look forward to that very much.
Well, and that's like, I think that's why we have that misconception. Is it's not BLM in the sense that it's the Mojave Desert,
right?
It's Virginia is not 87%.
But I love that about our country. How cool is our country?
And that every state is different, right?
They're all so different.
You have the coal mines of West Virginia that are trees and clay and mud and nasty, but then, I mean, within a couple of days, you can be in Death Valley.
It's like so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I've lived a lot of different places in our country, and I think that kind of gives me a unique perspective. Obviously, California and Nevada. I went to college in Alaska. Still spend a lot of time there. I've lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've spent a lot of time in Arkansas. My sister lives in Ohio. I've really been able to experience a good deal of the variety that our country has to offer. I think it makes us so unique, and it is so worth defending.
My trip home from Overland Expo, my wife and I hit like the Grand Canyon, White National Forest. Like, we hit a bunch of the parks, and like I had been to the Grand Canyon on a couple trips. She had never been to the Grand Canyon. And
Did she love it?
Oh yeah. She, like, it was. My first trip like was kind of accidental, where it was like, oh yeah, it's like 45 minutes away. Like, let's just go to the Grand Canyon, not realizing what it was going to end up being. So I kind of gave her that same experience. Like, we went in. I call it like the back door. It's the south gate or whatever. Okay. It's not through the main like Grand Canyon National Park entrance.
Big,
and like you work your way along the canyon towards the visitor center in the main part of the park.
Right.
She loved it, and like the takeaway I had, because it was later in the day, we were, walking along the South Rim, and this isn't meant to be negative, but it was mostly tourists. It was mostly foreign nationals, right? Like, there was not a lot of English being spoken. And I'm like, it's a shame
it's too bad
that people in the U.S. don't utilize these parks. Like, you have people from literally all over the world taking their time to come here and experience this. And it's free. It's free. It's literally just there. That's like, just drive out there and go.
One of the craziest things, I think, is that, like, as I meet people more and more from other countries, I experienced this a lot when I lived and worked as a paramedic in Las Vegas, because it's such a big tourist place. They're so in awe of our public lands, specifically, like those portions of what we have to offer as a country, and so many of them coming from other countries where that's not a thing, or they just don't have the freedoms that we enjoy and often take for granted. Like, there you go. I mean, they're out seeing the things that we have to offer, and so many of our people kind of just don't take advantage. I mean, if you haven't explored, please go do it,
Like, literally, like, the U.S. auto industry is like 60% SUVs at this point. Like,
right.
Literally get in your car and just go drive them.
I know.
Like, it's that easy.
We are so lucky to have like just the crazy amount of public lands that we have, whether it's Forest Service, BLM, state parks, national parks. We have just a vast variety of cool stuff.
It was fun going to the Petrified National Forest.
Oh, I loved that as a kid.
And it's like, I knew it existed. I didn't know it was in Arizona. It's like literally right off the highway. So I was like, well, this is convenient. They have their whole museum, like talking about the dinosaurs and all the
I remember being so just taken by all of that as a child.
And it's funny because Netflix had just done that dinosaur documentary series.
I watched it, yeah.
We watched it, and we're watching it. My wife's like, I don't understand. Like, how does, like, everything die and come back? I'm like, it's millions of years. It's hundreds of millions of years. Like,
it's crazy.
Like, we're going to be alive for maybe 100. This is hundreds of millions.
It's a long time.
So it was just like this whole thing. And she's like, it's
hard to wrap your brain around, honestly.
It really is. But then she made the comment. She's like, yeah, and I just like, where is all this stuff now? And I was like, well, it's buried under neighborhoods on the East Coast. But I was like, out west.
True.
Like, you can go, like, it exists. It's
all
there.
Still there.
Like, that's how we know this, because it exists. So, like seeing the trees and the wood and everything lying on the ground, and like realizing the science and the history that it takes to create that, she was just like, okay, this is
good for you for taking that trip. Like, I'm so lucky I grew up in a family where those were our summers. Yeah. Like, every summer we went on vacations, places like that.
It's funny because mine weren't. Like, my family loves the beach. Like, a family vacation for us was 3-4 days sitting on a beach, and it drove me nuts. Like, at this point in my life, I'm realizing I probably have and had undiagnosed ADD. So like,
welcome to the club. Yeah. Actually, I just have severe ADHD. Like, I take medication for it and everything.
Oh, it's Trevor, who works at the shop and helps us with the podcast, was diagnosed, and he says to me all the time, he's like, dude, like, you need some medication. And I'm like, no, it's just one of those days. Like, I'll have another cup of coffee, I'll be fine.
Ironically, the coffee probably is helping you. You're self-medicating.
But like 13, 14-year-old me was just like, after an hour, I'm like, all right, what are we doing next? Like, where are we going?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I needed an activity. So like, as I got older, going out and exploring and doing those things, and like, I love a road trip. I can sit, ironically enough, I can sit in a car for 3 days and have zero issue. Yeah. Unless it's Kansas. Driving through Kansas on I-70 sucks.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that portion of the country yet.
Like, I purposely, when I drove to Expo, I got off of 70 in Kansas City and like took a diagonal route thinking it would be more fun.
Yeah.
And it really is just the same thing on a 2-lane road. It's the same windmills and hay, like silos. Like, it's just, I'm just like, yeah, this is still. So the nice thing is there's nobody else around. So like doing 85, 90 isn't that big of a deal until you cross into Oklahoma, and then they like, I got like flashed by a cop because I didn't realize they dropped their speed limit from 80 to 70, and I was still doing 90. So I was like, oh, sorry.
How many times a year do you drive back and forth across the country?
Usually once.
Okay. Like that's pretty remarkable. Most people don't do that.
Yeah. So we did going on 3 years now. We, as a podcast, I took the guys from the shop. We road trip from Virginia to Vegas for SEMA.
Okay. That's so cool.
Yeah. And that's like,
this year we're going to there's like a road to SEMA thing that we're planning. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. We had a similar idea, Matt and I were talking about it earlier. But yeah, it's like, I love a road trip. So like the Overland Expo thing was complete by chance with OVR magazine, saw a post and jumped on it, and like within 3 days had planned a 10-day road trip. Like, it worked out perfect because my wife was going to be in between jobs. Like, I left the day before her last day at her old job, and she was going to be off through Memorial Day.
Yeah, it was so cool that she was able to fly in and meet with us. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. She was like, we weren't going to have, childcare for 10 days. So I was like, all right, I'll leave. I'll meet you out there. Yeah. So he's getting to the point where he's almost old enough to do those trips.
How old is he?
He's 3.
Okay.
He'll be 3 in July.
We took our daughter, maybe not the best in judgment, but we took her on her first 10-day off-road trip when she was about 8 months old. I invested in I think it was a Recaro car seat that's the steel reinforced. Yeah. And had custom little neck rolls. Yeah. And I mean, she did well. Actually, I feel like she did better with it then than she does now. Sometimes as an older kid, because she's I'm bored. Where are we going next? Back then, she used to just fall asleep.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's been on enough off-road day trips.
Yeah, the off-roading always puts them to sleep.
It was funny. The first one we ever did, he was awake. He normally would fall asleep within 10 minutes of being in a car. He stayed the whole drive into West Virginia. He stayed awake. Mm-hmm. And then we hit dirt, and I was like, all right, buddy, first off-road trip. And I turned around, and he is out cold snoring the whole trail ride. And then woke up as soon as we got to the restaurant we were going to for lunch. There's a burrito place in Davis, West Virginia called Hellbender's Burritos. They make
that sounds exciting.
Giant burrito. We call it our inconvenient burrito run. we basically take what should be an hour and a half drive and make it 6, and then get burritos and go.
See, I'm gonna need all these pro tips if and when I ever get to go to West Virginia.
Anytime you're on the East Coast, let us know. We'll take you 4-wheeling.
Done. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Yeah, let's plan on that.
We have a lot of people don't realize the DC metro area. Within 6 hours, you can be at pretty much all of the premier East Coast parks.
How long did it take you to get here? How far is that drive? I have no concept.
From my house to here is 45 miles.
That's it?
Yeah.
The East Coast is still blowing my mind because everything's so close together, and it's a 2-second drive where I live. It's we're driving for easily an hour.
If we left right now, what time is it? It is almost noon. If we left now, we'd be at Roush Creek in 3 hours.
So that's all totally doable. If I had a free day or something.
The park that we our local park would be a 2-hour drive from here, and that's still in Virginia.
See, this is good for me to know.
Seneca Rocks, West Virginia is within 3 hours. If you're into rock crawl, and Good Evening Ranch is from here probably pushing 6.
As long as it's not my stuff to break.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll be along for the ride.
No, Good Evening Ranch is 40-inch buggy type stuff.
Nice. Okay.
I've shown a lot of West Coast people videos if you guys come east, and they're that's on the East Coast. I'm that's in West Virginia.
People just have no idea.
Yeah.
There's such cool stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything has its own flavor and culture to it.
Yep. So.
I mean, I feel like ORBA is a national organization, which is super helpful. That's why we like to align with the regional, Corva and Cal 4-Wheel and things like that, because I've obviously California especially just has, as Sean talked in our last interview, so much going on in California that it almost eclipses everywhere else.
Yep.
So that's kind of its own lane, but that's the beauty of ORBA, I think, is that we're able to kind of help build those coalitions and spots and then kind of oversee things from a broader level.
Yep.
And I mean, you've got the ability to utilize us to get in touch with other groups and really look at these issues. I'm able to utilize the power of SEMA, which is incredible.
Yep.
I had no idea, to be completely honest, that SEMA was doing as much in the off-road space as they have been until pretty recently when I got as involved as I did. Oceano Dunes, I had no idea that SEMA funded 2/3 of that battle.
Yeah.
I'm you guys, we gotta tell people a little bit better what's going on and what you guys are contributing to things. I get not wanting to overdo it, but if you're not telling your story, then people will never know.
I've had that conversation with Matt and Karen of
they're just so stoic about it, which is amazing.
It's just a day of work for them.
Yeah, they're you know what, the work speaks for itself. I'm absolutely yes, the work speaks for itself, but you guys are a powerhouse that people don't even know is in the fight.
Well, I think ORBA is going to help change that.
I hope so.
It gives a little bit of a tag and a little bit of credibility, and adding, because people think of SEMA as an organization as the show, and not
they do.
The rest
Most people,
of it.
That's their reference point is the SEMA show, and it's yes, that is a super big cool thing that we do, but it's not everything.
Yeah, it's like I was getting the SEMA Action Network emails for years before I even like was a business owner.
Right.
Like I've just always paid attention and followed it because 19-year-old me wanted to cut the cats off my BMW or not run mud flaps or
get some
whatever
of that
like,
information
and there's I similar to you, I kind of lived in a bunch of different states, so I always had to track what I could or couldn't do to a car depending on where I lived.
Been there and done that as well. I remember moving to Alaska and immediately getting in trouble for like stuff that was on my Tacoma that was not legal there, and it's like, oh, this sucks.
I just talked to a customer last week scheduling an appointment. He's moving to Switzerland or Sweden. I think it was Switzerland or Sweden, and he's taking his 200 series Land Cruiser. That is lifted
no
and
idea
has a
what
bunch of
you
stuff.
can and can't do there.
So he was like, I need to pass this inspection when I get there.
Oh, yeah,
and I
makes
know
sense.
for a fact X, Y, and Z is going to fail. Like, can we address that before I go? Because if it fails the import inspection, they put it back on the ship and send it back. And I was like,
that would be such a terrible, expensive ordeal.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not taking responsibility for guaranteeing you it's going to pass, but I am happy to like trim the bumper and make it not rub. Like
they probably
make sure there's
have
mud
way
flaps.
more regulations there. I would have to guess. I feel like most places do.
It's a relatively like he's like I already took the lights off. He's like
you can't have any of that.
He said he thinks his bumper will be fine. And I was like, I guess that's on you to figure out.
Can you unbolt it or cut it off if it's not? Because it would be a shame to have to go through all of that.
Yeah, he had like they have the whole part of his issue is there's a limitation on how much gap you can have between the tire and the fender. So he had to actually put bigger tires on, and now it rubs. But it's also you're not allowed to have any rub on anything. And I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna get complicated.
That's that's a little nerve wracking, and I would definitely have a lot of concerns. But I guess there's probably not many other cars like that there. Maybe he'll spark up a whole new car culture in another country. I don't know what that looks like, but that would be cool.
Yeah,
the American stuff can catch on.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I watch like the Expedition Overland guys that like travel the world with their Toyotas.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So like I've never considered that aspect of like their travel of they have to be in compliance. I'm sure. Or
I don't know.
I don't know if they're getting exemptions
some kind of a
filming
temporary permit thing. Yeah. That's a great question. And for me, like my brain works on permits, right? That's like my whole specialty. Like I am the permit person.
Well, if I ever do an international
let me know.
Trip, I'm
curious.
Figure that out for me.
I'm just curious to like find out like, what do you got to do? But I mean, and there you go. That's a lot of, I think, why ORBA brought me in is because I have a lot of like special skill set within that permit regulation area. I've worked with the Forest Service. I've worked with BLM a lot. And I have made friends in the government agencies in just a lot of it has to do with, of course, Tread Lightly and racing and working with them in that regard. But I also did like a whole wildlands season as a firefighter with BLM like over 20 years ago. And a lot of those guys still work for BLM.
Yeah, go figure.
So, I mean, it comes in handy occasionally to know people and have good relationships.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say it's definitely a unique skill set because I would imagine
there's
not a lot of there's not a lot of people applying for permits and whatnot. So
and that's kind of the unfortunate part is we get such a bad rap in part because people are like, I'm just going to do this, and they don't really try to like follow the process. So usually I spend a good deal of time helping people for free if it's like something small and they're hung up on it or they're just too freaked out by even initiating the process.
Maybe ORBA can do like a seminar or a class.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, an education portion of it. We've got a few things.
Education program exists.
Yeah,
the infrastructure's there already.
We were working on a few things for the SEMA show, kind of in that same lane. We're talking about potentially, having some land managers and stuff come out and do kind of like an update from their end. And I'm like trying to figure out what that could look like, if we can do it, when we can do it. Is that online or at the show? But I think it would be great for people to be able to see them in a little bit more of a human light. Like, I'm not saying like, yay, pro-government by any means, but I'm also like, understanding of the fact that they're just people too.
Yep.
A lot of them really like to do the same things we like to do.
That's why they got into it in the first place.
And unfortunately, they are subject to lawsuits that affect them personally a lot of the time, and that creates a lot of fear on their end. A lot of frustration with our community, but a lot of fear because, I mean, if this is your 9-to-5 job and you run the risk of getting sued and losing your home, or, you know, all these things that you've worked really hard for, it puts a whole other spin into things.
Yep.
So I think there's just a lot more grace we could give everybody all the way around, and trying to find ways to work together that's not quite so like, you know, burn the house down.
Yeah, like we all just want to go out and camp and have fun, and
we have a lot more in common than people usually think, all the way around.
Yep.
Even the groups that tend to think that we're terrible, if you can actually get them to like drop their guard a bit and you start talking to people, things usually have a way of working themselves out. You don't have to get too aggressive with people once you get to that point.
It's the right mindset, yeah.
I feel like, luckily, my fire and EMS background gives me just this really unique perspective where it's like, hey, nobody died today.
Yep.
You know what? Like, we're good. I didn't have a bad day where I have to go home and stress about whether or not my bad day affected someone else's very actual life. So, you know what? This is okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to work through it.
My wife gets annoyed with my optimistic, overwhelmingly positive, because I'm like, because that's usually like, is somebody hurt? No. Is anybody dead? No. Cool. Not a problem.
This is all going to be okay.
Let's figure it out.
Yep.
Like there's
it's
no
all figure-outable.
Emergency.
It's all figure-outable is one of my favorite things. Like, you know what? There'll be a way that this will work out. It always does. If somebody's not dying,
the house isn't on fire. We didn't wreck the car.
We're
and nobody's
good.
dead.
I've already lived through so much terrible stuff that like this does not faze me whatsoever. People do tend to get a little rattled, I guess, by what seems to at times on my part be a lack of emotion, but it's really just like a level of control that only comes when you've had just the worst things that you've dealt with.
The analogy I've used with, because even like with some of the guys at the shop and my employees, it's like, if I'm not freaking out, you have no reason to be freaked out.
I will tell you.
Yeah. I had a older firefighter when I was younger who like saw me running to the truck for a call and was like, he's like, listen,
we don't run.
It was like one of those he's like, I appreciate the effort and the enthusiasm, like absolutely move with a purpose. He goes, if you don't see me running, you have no reason to be running.
I love that you just said move with a purpose because it's something that's stuck in my head for so long, and I still say that to myself. It just is in like a different way now. I'm like, you move with a purpose. You move with a purpose. You don't have to move like the house is on fire. But you're moving with a purpose. You're moving towards that goal, and the work still gets done.
And in 6 years on a crew with him, I think he ran twice.
There you go. I like, if they're running, then truly, like, something really, really, really awful is happening.
Yeah, I remember one of them was, our engine got dispatched for a vehicle accident. I was on our ladder truck, and it was after midnight. We were all getting ready to go to bed. I started like walking up the stairs because I was like, their call's nothing. I'm gonna go to sleep. And as I'm walking up the stairs, he goes running by me down the stairs, and I'm like, "What do you know?" He goes, the guy who was bossing the engine sent him a text saying they were upgrading it to a trap. Before it had been dispatched, and he was running, and I'm like, "Oh shit! All right, I got to run."
Now is the time that we move quickly.
The guy launched his Infinity up a hill through a fence and cartwheeled onto a golf course.
Oof!
So we cut him out of the car and landed the helicopter on the golf course. It's a pretty good time.
But think about so there's a good way to like bring it back around again. First responders, again, along with veterans, I feel fiercely that we deserve to be able to experience the outdoors for like mental health and rehab purposes. And that can look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And there are first responders, veterans, like I said, you can go on and on and on about different examples, but not everyone can access the outdoors in the same way. Don't be an elitist asshole about it. and think
on.
that just because you can go for a hike, that's the way that everybody else can and should experience the outdoors. So one of there's a few different bills on the table right now that we've been meeting with, on the Hill, different members of Congress and the Senate, and trying to work on some of that. And a lot of it really does tie back to accessibility for everybody. Making sure that people have a very clear understanding of what's open and available to them. If it's not open and available, why? When does this get reevaluated? Is there a balance to it? What's the rhyme or reason? It's not, there just has to be barriers in place. There's got to be guardrails. Otherwise,
figuratively, we're not actually trying to build highways and guardrails.
Actual guardrails would be a little silly and kind of, the opposite direction. But just making sure that this is all looked at in a really balanced perspective. That's, I think, what the big takeaway for ORBA's purpose is really just trying to be kind of that balance point of what is reasonable, what makes sense, what's going to be a good, solid move that we have to consider from one administration to the next, what's gonna be something bulletproof enough to hold and stay. We're really lucky right now with some of the things that are going our way. We're not used to it, and it's at the same time I'm we have to exactly move with caution and make sure that as we aren't so lucky potentially in the future, we don't know what the future holds, but I have to assume there will come a time where things will go back the other direction, and we got to make sure that we don't get it all ripped back out of our hands.
And I think part of that is the work you're doing as far as working with the lawmakers and the legislators and the representatives of the agencies to make sure the rules are more of a permanent language, right?
Absolutely.
That's
a constant negotiation process, to be honest.
And once that gets done and that access is there, then we can kind of start the process of making sure, in my opinion, the community gets educated, and we all, as users, have that same.
That's why the education and the stewardship has to go hand in hand.
Because it's the work you guys are doing to make sure it stays open and potentially open things that already exist that are closed. Right. That's the hardest part of the challenge.
And that's where the tread lightly's of the world fit in, right? That's why I'm saying all of these groups, they have their place. They're all super valuable, just in different ways. You can't have one without the other. If we get all of this passed like we want, everything keeps the new executive order the president just issued, all great. But if we don't take it with a grain of stewardship and education, it's never going to last. It's got to be something sustainable. And there's a degree of whiplash that has continued to happen. I mean, if you think about it historically, off-road wasn't really a thing until after World War II. Jeeps came with the war. They came back. It was something that people started doing, recreating. And then there just got to be a point where it was the government kind of went, oh crap, we have a whole new set of problems that we didn't anticipate, we've never seen before. And you have to just make sure that barometer doesn't go too far one direction or the other.
And I think we're almost living through another version of that now with the side-by-sides, right?
Absolutely.
Off-roading used to just kind of be this quiet little corner.
They went from golf carts to race cars real quick. I mean.
And the rest of us that have been in it and just kind of been happy to quietly sit in the corner and go out in the woods and disappear, we're now dealing with it of all the new people that are coming in with their race cars, and it's not all side-by-sides.
I know I'm not the first one to say it by a long shot, but the thing about side-by-sides is they provide a really great avenue for people to experience the outdoors and get into motorsports that hadn't had that before, but at the same time, it's the swipe of a credit card and here we go. So we have to find a good balance to be able to maintain a reasonable lane where we get the access, we get the things that we deserve, but we're not doing it in a really crappy, unsustainable way. I mean, our community just has to be able to not be the assholes and prove. Unfortunately, we sort of have to go an extra step to prove it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair, but the perception is there, and it's on every single person to understand that there's a microscope on us, and they need to, you know, be aware of that and conduct themselves in a good way, in a responsible way.
Yeah, and I think that's where the fights we've been going through now it's self-inflicted, right? Like we were given we were left alone, and then we put the spotlight on ourselves. Yep. And now we have to. And
a lot of times fight. We don't help ourselves out with all the back end fighting and backbiting, and they're watching, right? Yep. Online, it's kind of crazy, but you know, you talk to people and you hear like, oh, I saw on social media, blah blah blah. They're watching. Yep. They always are. You just have to know that when you post content that may get you a lot of clicks and views, it has like a downfall to it when our access starts to get taken away. Yeah. So when you're doing unpermitted events and things like that, you just got to be aware that we're just under that microscope all the time.
Yep. Yeah, and I've had that bone to pick with influencers. Same thing, right?
That's like a tough one.
They spend a bunch of money and they go out, and then like, you know, rolling your Jeep over or breaking your Jeep becomes a cool thing to do. And now it's the uphill battle for the rest of us of like, because like I've had conversations with customers who are like, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to fall over. And I'm like, I've done the exact same obstacle without falling over, and my Jeep 100%. Is half as built. Like, they're just doing it for the views. Like, that's not what like, you don't have to be scared to go to Moab. Like, you don't have to be scared to go out off-road. Like, take your Jeep out, enjoy it, have fun. You can
It doesn't have to look this extreme, but they're doing it for the views. The social media has goods and bads. I mean, along with anything else, right? It's connected people in really great ways, but it's also hurt us a lot too, and continues to be something that gets monitored and can lead to a lot of controversy. Yep. And I just want like all the whether it's a small business owner or like a larger manufacturer, like they need a better understanding, I think, of how all this ties together, and just to be able to offer support. Like we say it all the time, and I'm going to be that cliche, but with no trails is no sales, right? Yep. Like, if we can't all find a way to pull this off, then everybody loses across the board. Yep. That it's like, this is so important for people to understand.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously I have a very biased opinion on that, but
well, you're a great supporter. That's the problem. Right. We hear from all the great supporters, all the responsible people. They're like super great about stepping up, but it's the ones that you can't reach, that you have a hard time reaching. A lot of times, even I've participated in like youth helmet programs where we go out to really popular like BLM sand dune areas, and we will stop people like in real time. You see kids without helmets, and we've had a great program in Nevada going with axle helmets. They specify like with off-road stuff, and put the helmet on the kid right there. We size them for it, get them going, and send them on their way, like no charge, whatever. It's like, oh, we just have to stop the madness. Yep. And I love when people try to tell me that their kid wearing a helmet is like infringing on their rights. But
it's wild one. We were just having this discussion. Pennsylvania recently just allowed Jeeps to drive without doors. For the longest time, they had no doors. But Pennsylvania is also one of the few states you can ride a motorcycle without a helmet.
You know what? I'm okay. Like, I'm all for our freedoms. Yeah. So if you are, I'll tell you all day long, as somebody that was a paramedic, that's the dumbest possible thing you could do. I don't want to pick your brains up off the street. Yeah. But if you're an adult and you make that decision, that's on you. Yeah. Don't make that decision for your kid.
That's fair.
That's my hard line.
Yeah, that's
They're
fair.
Not able to make a reasonable, rational decision. At that point, you're in charge of keeping them safe. That is your responsibility.
If you want to be stupid for yourself.
Exactly. Yep. I'm like, I can't stand the amount of accidents that you see where it's like, oh, God, this is just, It'll just, like I said, with that kind of a background, it just puts a totally different spin into things. Yeah. My viewpoint is probably different than other people's because of that, but I'm just going to be
with you on it, though.
Don't be dumb.
Yeah. I think really this entire episode could be kind of summed up as just don't be dumb. Don't be dumb and don't be an asshole. It's just not that hard.
Is it that hard?
Just not that hard.
Look, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. Like, I mean, it is so simple to just be like a decent human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can start wrapping up. I do have one question to circle back.
All right.
Because I know this has become a thing for Tim, and if I don't ask the question, knowing your Nevada background, I'll get in trouble.
Sure.
Aliens.
Ooh, yeah. Nevada is a good state for that, right?
Yeah. Have you seen anything in Nevada or anywhere?
Have I seen any like
have you gotten
super
a UFO?
specific? Man, I wish I had like a cool UFO story. So like, my first real fire department job was on an army base in the middle of nowhere.
Sounds like
Hawthorne, Nevada.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if you're living in Hawthorne. I love you dearly, but it is kind of still the middle of nowhere, just like my own hometown. And that was always a place where I felt like the government had some cool stuff, some interesting stuff that people will never probably see or hear about. But, you know, you see like the weird lights and stuff occasionally. I'm usually, that particular area is between Top Gun, like the real Navy base. Yep. And, you know, some other, there's quite a bit of military presence in Nevada. So I tend to just kind of chalk it up to that type of activity. But I will say this is the same thing that I've told my own child is like, it's a pretty big universe. It's a really vast universe with a lot of space. It would be really, I think, silly of us, really selfish and kind of like naive for us to think that we're it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
like,
that's
mathematically, and I'm a fact person. I'm a statistic person. Yep. Like mathematically, that's impossible.
Right. I'm with you because I had to fill a credit in college and took an astronomy course, and the only thing I learned in that entire semester that stuck with me was, at the time, this is 2012, the known edge of the universe as far as what we can see was 13 billion light years away, which, okay, whatever. Like, we throw billions and trillions around like nothing these days.
Yeah, how many times is
But
that?
when you factor in that meant if you left now traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 13 billion years to get there.
It's
you
insane.
realize how big it is. And it's like, we are seeing things that no longer exist.
100%.
Like,
so the perception is, it's hard to even wrap your brain around it. I feel like my husband and I have these weird conversations all the time about this kind of stuff. Like, this is the shit that we just get really weird and into the weeds about, because it's just like, it's not possible for it to just be us.
We did a Moab trip a couple years ago, and we camped. I do this every time I tell this story. Gemini Bridges.
Okay.
I don't know why I always blank on the name of the road.
It's all right.
But we camped up off like the Gemini Bridges area. Our wives don't believe us because they know we weren't sober. However,
I love that.
It is verified by all 7 people that were there that there was absolutely an unexplainable thing that we saw in the sky.
Okay, so what was it? What'd you see?
It was a light, like a really bright light, like satellite, plane, whatever.
Yeah.
And it like, we could see it off in the distance, and it was like speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down.
Okay.
And then it got really bright, and it went away.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa, like, what was that? 3 seconds later, it appears in a different spot, like reappears, and you get like the cone around it, like
interesting,
like it was like
the cone of light,
and then it disappeared again, and we were like, oh my god, we just saw.
I mean, the government's confirmed.
So what made it even weirder was my father-in-law and brother-in-law, who met us in Moab that week. Like, they weren't on the whole trip with us. They camped in the same general area the next night. And my father-in-law works in this area in like aerospace and satellite stuff. And he's telling us that they were like really thrown off because he was like, what town is over there? And I was like, there isn't a town over there. I'm like, and they're like, they're showing me the dot, and I'm like, no, like, Moab's over here. You're like, if you guys were at Gemini Bridges and you were looking south, there's really nothing over there. And he's like, yeah, there was like this massive glow. Like, I was trying to figure out what city it was.
City lights or something, huh?
And then like, we made the connection. Like, wait a minute, that was the same direction that light was moving last night.
Interesting.
So then the next day, there's like this massive glow in the desert.
Yeah.
Like.
So like, my question is, if anything, like, what do we have to offer? I mean, I would guess like they're probably checking out our public lands.
I was gonna say Jeeps are pretty cool.
I mean, they're probably like, wow, look at all this cool.
The Bronco Raptor has a lot of cool technology.
I mean, I'm not going to argue that point at all because it sure does.
Not an ad for Ford because I'm not a Ford guy, but
You know what? I was never a Ford person either. I honestly would have never guessed that I would.
I was a fleet mechanic for too long. The Ford door dinger.
Yeah,
it
like gives you PTSD.
I'm a Ford. Every time we have a Ford in the shop, we're all like, "Shut it off!"
I gotta say, I've been like a pretty die-hard Toyota person for the most part. So yeah, it felt a little bit like betrayal. But I've had like 2 Tacomas. I've had several 4Runners. I still actually have Toyotas, but I do so love that Bronco Raptor.
It is a great vehicle. It has its place.
Except for the cup holders. I'm sorry, Ford, if you ever hear this. Those cup holders suck.
Don't buy a Jeep anytime soon.
I know.
They might be worse.
The cup holders, and I'm not thrilled about the like amount of airflow that gets to the back seat, but I almost never sit back there.
I was going to say, that's not really a problem for you.
Yeah.
Every time I'm in the back seat of one of my own cars, I'm like, wow, it sucks back here.
Yeah, I was like, this is miserable.
All right, well, we'll wrap it there because it's...
How long?
Like an hour. That's an hour and 40.
Oh wow,
We'll be like an hour and 30 by the time it's trimmed down.
And Sean wasn't even here to fill up some of that space.
This would be a 4-hour podcast if Sean was here.
I would have said about 3 words.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for taking the time today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for coming all the way here.
So yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my buddy on the way in. I was more than halfway here, and I had a 45-minute drive left, but it was only 15 miles.
Yeah,
and I was like, I hate DC.
I experienced DC traffic, I would say like truly DC traffic yesterday for the first time. And I was just like, this is so frustrating. Oh my gosh, I have to get there. I have to be there. I can't be late. This is extremely stressful. And I feel like I have no control over it because I'm like not even driving in that case.
Well, yeah, and then you have like
I could walk faster than this. Let me out. I got to get out of here.
I gave myself a 2.5-hour window to drive 40 miles. That's basically what I did today. And I was here a half hour early.
Like I said, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you making the trip all the way here.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, your trip is much longer than mine, so.
Yeah, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
I like it.
I thank you for putting the work in and helping keep everything going in the right direction.
I'm going to do my best to make our community proud, and I want people to see us shine.
And you should absolutely take credit for all the good things that have happened in the last 3 weeks now. 4 weeks?
You know, I think that's one of those funny things. Like, I'll get on my own little soapbox here. Like, everybody's so concerned about who's taking credit for stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea
who cares
what exactly, like, another person, let alone group, has done. But I know, like, the amount I've contributed, the amount of meetings I've had, private conversations, letters to the White House, meetings set up with the White House, whatever, all of that. I have no doubt that others are doing equally the same amount of work. So it's all, again, like, you have to flank the situation. It's got to be a surround sound effect.
Yep.
We're all responsible for the downfalls. We're all easily also able to take credit for the wins.
Yeah. I think things I've learned in this short time getting involved is every little bit helps. Yeah. Every time, that's another off-road thing. The off-roaders are back. The SEMA's back. The
We've
car
had
guys
like
are back.
no representation hardly at all for so long. Like we need it. We need everybody to be like giving ourselves that kind of presence. And I, honest to God, like, this is one of those things, I guess, again, with kind of that very flat, not a lot of emotion. I don't care. I don't care about what people's feelings are.
As long as the land's
As long as the work is getting done.
Yep.
That's all I care about. I just want the work to get done. I don't give 2 shits about who's getting credit for what. You know, like, it's getting done. It's getting handled. We're moving forward. The mission is getting accomplished.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my 2 cents.
I love it. Awesome. Well, where can people find you? I know Off-Road Business Association.
Yep. We've got our website, which that would be Off-Road Business, let's see, I think .org. Okay. There we go. Off-Road. And they can find me, whether it's on the ORBA pages, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram. You can also find me on my personal pages, Vorra, VORRA _Laura. like if you've got questions or something to say, good, bad, or otherwise, I'm happy to hear it.
Good. Awesome.
I'm here.
Yeah. Everybody knows where to find us. DirtNerdsOffroad.com, Dirt Drive on Instagram, DirtNerds Motors on Instagram. We're really working on streamlining our social media, but that's a separate podcast episode. So for now, it's still DirtNerdsOffroad.com is the easiest place. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Cool.